Well, good morning, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you for watching, commenting, subscribing, be a part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Kyle Pitts to the Cowboys? Oh, shit. Okay, we'll get to that in a second, but I tell you, this is crazy. I am on the road. I couldn't sleep last night. I literally could not sleep last night. I actually had some dreams about Buc-ee's. About freaking Buc-ee's, okay? Buc-ee's is opening up in Virginia. Actually, it's open now. It was crazy because they have a whole Buc-ee's fan group in Facebook. And last night, they've got a separate off-ramp for Buc-ee's, okay? That was blocked up when I came back Saturday. They had RVs and cars lined up in the exit to get into Buc-ee's this morning when they opened. It's crazy. And here it is. I've been talking about Buc-ee's for weeks now. And, you know, my buddy Jet D is like, man, you don't want to go anywhere near Buc-ee's today. He's like, yes, I do. Yes, I do. I want to see what the madness is about, okay? Walker Ways got me excited about beaver nuggets. Beaver nuggets. And he said the brisket's okay. He said it's really the breakfast. Now, if you want to know where the good place to eat, you talk to a trucker because they know where the shit, they know their shit. They know their shit. So we're going to do that. Before I get to Buc-ee's, though, I got to go to get some more paver bricks because I'm extending the walkway at the red brick house. So I'm doing that, and I got the bed back there. That I'm building the bed, a platform bed with drawers because my wife's got so much shit. She's got so much shit, okay? All she does is collect more shit. And then she has me create more places to be able to store more shit. My wife is a hoarder. Not your typical hoarder now. She's a neat, clean hoarder, okay? She's organized hoarding, but she ain't getting rid of shit, although we are actually are. You see these bags? When we took down and took the room, see, we actually took one of the kids when they left their bedroom and made a closet so she could keep more shit in it. And she decided we need a guest room, so we ended up basically getting rid of stuff. So she's donating this stuff to a church that is somewhere close that basically has like clothes rentals and things, or not rentals, but like you need clothes for a certain event or interviews and things like that. They have like a wardrobe for people. So she's doing a good thing. That way she feels like she's not getting rid of shit. I just throw the shit away. That's what I do. It's like if I'm done with it, things, I just get rid of it. I ain't used it, get rid of it. No, that ain't my wife. So that's why I got all these bags here. It's not that she kicked me out the house or anything like that, because I'm sure somebody will start a crazy rumor. Man, he had to make a new bed. He got his clothes and trash back. Because you know how people are. You know how people are. All right, so we're going to see Buc-ee's here in probably about less than 2 hours. Less than 2 hours, we're going to be at Buc-ee's. In the meantime, here's where everything has changed, man. And it's ridiculous because you see so many stories now that you don't know if they're real or not. There's no integrity anymore, okay? You know, I saw a thing this morning that the Concorde is coming back, okay? Now, and I was saying the Concorde, it's like they retired the planes that they crashed. And I'm like, they're going to refix those and put them up to fly, and it's kind of old technology. What they're talking about is supersonic flight. They're not actually talking about bringing, or you know, that's what they're really doing is they're talking about getting into new planes that will have supersonic flight, not redoing the original planes. And so that looks like an article that's probably done by one of the AI bots and stuff like that. And here you go. And people publish that shit. Or you see crazy shit. Uh-oh. Hold on. Sorry. Had a text message with a problem with, I'm a landlord, okay? I'm a landlord. I have tenants, okay? So a tenant said my front door lock broke and now we can't get out the front door. Well, it's a good thing you got a side and the back door then, okay? So I'll get you another lock and change the lock. Ain't no big deal. Be that as it may, there's a lot of fake stories out there, okay? And there's no integrity any longer in what you get. Everything now is speculation and bullshit, okay? And it's terrible because you are a named person. You're supposed to be credible, okay? Listen, I'm Joe the Fan, okay? I don't work for ESPN. I didn't go to ESPN's School of Broadcasting. I'm not a former player. I am Joe the Fan, just like everybody else, okay? And I give you my opinion on what's going on and things, okay? And, you can look at me and say, well, you're not an insider, although I do have some friends that are close to people, and I do sometimes get some stuff through the grapevine, which, okay, is cool. But I don't pretend to say that everything that I say is 100% correct and accurate, this, that, the other, and so on. Most of the stuff that all of us do is following what is being talked about or what news ends up breaking. Okay, so let's set the parameters there. But when you are allegedly or should be on television and an expert, you shouldn't be putting out there conjecture like it's breaking news. And so many times this off season, we've got so many stories, proposed trades or ideas that are brought up and presented in a way like it's something that's actually going to happen. Okay? And with the fake bots and stuff, it wasn't that long ago I saw one that the Cowboys signed Aaron Rodgers, and I'm like, what? And all of these things are designed to get you to click, because that's all it counts now. Facts be damned. So here we have Jeremy Fowler, who is, supposedly a respected guy. And whenever we see any of these guys say the slightest thing, everybody goes off at a tangent. We had that Micah Parsons might want a shorter deal, okay? He might want a shorter deal to get another piece of the pie. Well, okay. And then everybody all of a sudden goes crazy. Micah Parsons wants a shorter deal. They're not going to get him signed. What? That's the same as Mike Farello saying there might be a tape of Des Bryant. Well, there might not be a tape of Des Bryant. But you went through, you soiled the man's name, never apologized, never said, oh, well, I guess we didn't get it right, or I guess we didn't find it or something. But that's where it is now. So now you've got the idea, or they're saying that Jeremy Fowler, that Kyle Pitts is open to a trade. Well, here's the reality of it is, that's great. I'm sure most players might be open to a trade, unless you got a no trade clause like Dak Prescott. But the reality is you have no control over that. It doesn't matter if you're open to a trade or not. Is the team open? And we had Terrence Parsons saying, oh, get Kyle Pitts, man. Kyle Pitts, traded number 2 for a pick for Kyle Pitts. And I'm kind of like, a number 2? We spent a 3 for George Pickens. You're going to get number 2 up for Kyle Pitts? And see, Kyle Pitts is a name player. And see, this is the problem that we have with sometimes with players. It's a name you know. So when you say Kyle Pitts, automatically your head, oh shit, Kyle Pitts, man. He's the bomb.com. Well, Kyle Pitts, and I remember, and DMV, don't get pissed off at me, but DMV was like, man, we got to move up and get Kyle Pitts, man. Kyle Pitts is going to be generational, man. We got to get Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts, Kyle Pitts, Kyle Pitts, Kyle Pitts. And he ended up being drafted in the top 10, okay? And his first year, he had like 1,029 yards. It was great. It was a great season on a team that wasn't necessarily a great team. And so you started thinking, okay, yeah, this guy, great pick. But since that time, the next year he was like 322 yards. And the last 2 seasons, it's only been like 600s. And in his 4-year career, he only has 10 TDs. Right now, Kyle Pitts is nothing special. Now, you could argue and say, well, you're looking at it and saying, maybe Atlanta's not a great team and this, that, and the other, and if you bring him to the Cowboys, that he'll be able to play great. That's potential, yes. But you're looking at 1,000 and some yards, 300 and some, rebounding a little bit, 600 for a number 2 pick. Why would you trade a number 2 pick? Now, I'm not going to go on here and say that it might end up being a fire sale, that they'll decide we're going to go ahead and move on because he's going into his 5th year and we'd rather get something than nothing, that maybe it's a 5th round or a 6th round pick or something like that. But there's no way in hell that you give up a 2nd round pick for a Kyle Pitts. Sorry, that ain't, no. But this is how the stories go out, because people, of course, boom, oh my God, the Cowboys. The people will literally take him saying that he's open to a trade. And the thing is, we hear a lot of guys that are on the trade block. We've heard rumors about Tyreek Hill all offseason being on the trade block, and that the Commanders might be interested in him, okay? And with Tyreek Hill literally saying, I'm out, and wanting to potentially get out of Washington, yet he's not been moved. We've heard that Jalen Ramsey, of course, has not got along with his coach, and that they've wanted to trade him as well. He wants to go on, he's put his preference of being on the West Coast. But here's the reality again. That's great that you want to be on the West Coast, but if a team and an organization is moving you because you don't get along with the head coach, why do you think that the team wants to do you a favor? The team is going to trade you where they can get the best compensation possible and the best deal. Your desires have nothing to do with any of that. None. Zero. So, yeah. Now, wanting to trade and getting the trade are two different things. And we're at the point where teams are looking at it and they're kind of looking at the bottom line is the main reason that they'll want to trade him is they don't want to pay that money. That's the number one thing. Or they're going to lose him and they'd rather get something in return instead of losing him. That's something the Cowboys do. The Cowboys, we basically hold on to them until they have no more value and their cost is sky high. And maybe the Cowboys would be better off had they if they started looking and saying, I can get something for this guy instead of paying him. Right now, you can kind of look at that and say, what if the Cowboys, hypothetically, instead of signing Diggs to that contract, had traded him? You'd be looking pretty good right now. You might be looking pretty good because his trade value was way up there. Since you paid him, he's been injured a couple of years. And that may be another way that the Cowboys need to start looking at these things. So when you have somebody like DaRon Bland, and I'm not suggesting that this is what they should do, but it's one of the discussions because you need to try and cover every possible scenario. But let's say hypothetically, because DaRon Bland, had a historic season with all of the pick sixes, right? He follows that up with a season that was pretty much injured. Do you look at this and say, after this year, do we sell the farm again like we did with Diggs? Or do we look at it and say, let's get some compensation to get somebody else that's younger and less expensive? You follow what I'm saying? You could make the argument that had the Cowboys, instead of releasing DeMarcus Ware when they did and got nothing, that maybe if they had traded him the year before, they would have been better off. It sounds crazy, But that's one of those ways that you keep your salary cap in line, get compensation to replace with the draft, and are able to get younger. That's all I'm saying. And, we've tried 30 years. I can't believe it's been 30 years. 30 years since we've been to an NFC Championship game. You need to start looking at doing some things a little bit differently. So, as far as Kyle Pitts goes, Kyle Pitts ain't coming to the Cowboys. And I doubt that the Cowboys, at this point, will be making any major trades. They may do some minor ones, 6th or 7th round pick, because, of course, we're going to have the comp picks. That's a possibility. But more than anything else, I'm going to say what the Cowboys will do going forward is they will be looking for veterans that are being released. They're not going to want to pay a trade and take on somebody's contract. They'd rather look at it and say, okay, we need another cornerback. Let's go get Stephon Gilmore. We need another interior defensive lineman. We can get one of those guys from somebody gets cut from a camp, or, like they did last year, and make a late round swap of picks for like a guy like Jordan Phillips. That's what they'll do. The Cowboys typically make a lot of moves during and after training camp on the waiver wires because that's what they do. They're cheap. You're not going to pay. You're not paying Kyle Pitts. Not with all the other guys that they already have. They're not taking a draft pick, especially Terrence. Not a number 2. Not a number 2. No way, no how for Kyle Pitts. So there you have it. And I've got myself shoots. I'm only 28 minutes away from the brick store, from the brickyard. Boy, that time is flying this morning. And once I finish at the brickyard, that's only about probably less than an hour to Buc-ee's. So I might be at Buc-ee's before 10. Oh shit. And I can't wait to bring it to you guys, okay? And brand new bathrooms. I said, I'm told Buc-ee's, the biggest thing I'm told about Buc-ee's, everybody always talks about the cleanest bathrooms anywhere, okay? And that they got miles and miles of toilets, okay? So we're going to check out the toilets, see how they look. I don't know if we're going to try and break them in or break the pipes on it and see if we can do some damage to them. I don't know what time the brisket starts, but I'll be there for breakfast and give you guys a look at Buc-ee's on grand opening day. I can't wait. I feel like I'm going to like King's Dominion or something, Can't wait. Buc-ee's. All righty, I hope y'all have a great day, and I'm going to keep on doing what I do, and that's pushing it, trying to get everything in one day. Peace out.